PJ Harvey is an English singer, songwriter, and multi-instrumentalist, and all-round artist in lots of other ways, but particularly poetry and sculpture. She is known for a certain level of ethereal bonkersness and for pioneering some alternative rock and unusual rock styles. She's constantly reinventing her image and trying different musical styles. In between 1988 and 1991, her kind of musical career started as a member of the Bristolian band Automatic Diamini, if that's how it's pronounced. She then formed a trio called PJ Harvey, which released 2 albums. Then she carried on with the same name, because after all, it is her name, and has released 8 more properly solo albums since then. Hi, my name's Dan. So this is the 9th or 7th album by PJ Harvey, depending on whether you count the first 2 albums where PJ Harvey was the name of a band or the trio. And it's my first encounter with this album, but not my first encounter with her as an artist by any means. So this was written alongside a book of poetry during travels she had in Afghanistan, Kosovo, and Washington, D.C. And it was recorded in an unusual way, which was the whole recording. I don't know about the whole recording process. Certainly some of the recording process was open to viewing by the public as an art installation, which is quite an interesting thing to try, I would say. Musically, I think I'm going to have to describe it as alt rock. It's kind of off the wall, but still somewhat in the rock mold. So it's breaking the kind of normal rules and thoughts of rock without thoroughly trashing the accepted rules of music. There are some elements of dissonance and atonal stuff in here, but they're few and far between. Mostly it's just about having unusual sounds and unusual rhythms and unusual production, I think, particularly. Vocally, it's quite expressive. She's got a nice voice. She can sing high and she can sing accurately. She could sound really sweet, I think, if she wanted to, but she tends towards the ethereal. Her subject matter doesn't really lend itself towards sounding sweet, I don't think. So, speaking of which, the songs on this album are mostly, I would say, observational songs about urban deprivation. And this caused some controversy with some implied criticisms of the US government through it, particularly because there are, songs about projects in America, in Washington D.C. specifically. I think what she's doing here is observational, and I think it's drawing parallels between Washington D.C. and these other places that she went to, which were Afghanistan and Kosovo. And I think if she's got an overall message, in my opinion, in this album, it is, look, there's stuff going on in America that is not that different from stuff going on in other parts of the world where you might think it's really bad, but it's actually, there are some elements that are really quite bad here as well. It's well written. It's certainly interesting musically and thematically. It's quite serious. It's got something to say. I often think that that's a good thing in music. I feel like, there's music that's good to dance to, but there's also music that's good. It's a good vehicle for saying something. And I feel sometimes that music is a waste of an opportunity to have something to say. My favourite track was probably Ministry of Defence, which is the second track on the album, mostly because of the unusual music approach in that. It's quite a nice track. And overall, in fact, I'd say I quite enjoyed it quite a bit. I'm looking forward to encountering more of the stuff. As I say, I've heard some of it before, but I'm going to get to hear quite a bit more as I go through this list, if I manage to keep my stamina going and go all the way through the list. That's what I think. And as always, I'd like to invite you to tell me what you think of this album. So please do let me know by dropping a comment into the comments box. It can be long and complicated and in-depth, or it can just be a few words. I don't mind, and I'm always interested to hear what people have to say. So that's it from me for now.
This is the ministry of defense. Stairs and walls are all that's left. water holes left.